Welcome back to the show, everybody. Check out these headlines here. Crypto exchange ceases operations in the U.S. We'll tell you which one. Global banking upgrade happening starting this weekend. BRICS, and how about Bitcoin? You're going to want to know about it. Antony, welfare advisor from Ripple, and highlights today. 4 best outcomes for the SEC versus Ripple and for Ripple. You're going to hear that from John Deaton. And how about this? XRP price possibly $4+ starting in April. We got that and so much more. Somebody roll that beautiful intro.
Digital Perspectives with Brad Kimes. Come on in.
Welcome back to the show, everybody. You can follow us on TikTok, YouTube, and Twitter for exclusive content right now. $1.23 trillion market cap for cryptocurrency. The market is up 0.3%. Good morning, everybody. 28,400 plus for Bitcoin, Ethereum 1838 and change. Tether market cap is 79.8 billion plus this morning, and XRP is 53 cents. It's still up 19.1%. I like it. 19.1%. All things considered on the 7-day. Now, we'll take that. Now, let's go ahead and get started with this. The range of price on XRP, we've been watching it, is between 51 on the low side and 56 on the high side. We'll keep an eye on it. Ladies and gentlemen, take a look at this, because this was out just a day or so ago here. David Schwartz put out a tweet in response about Link2 and PolySign, and essentially said, yes, they're actually acquiring PolySign, and this was in response to where you could get it, who had it, and it is Link2 legit. Well, you damn right they are. And David Schwartz here says so as well. Shout out to David and Ripple. Hell, shout out to Brad Garlinghouse too. Yes, they are actually acquiring PolySign shares from investors, employees, and former employees. These shares are then owned by legal entities, typically partnerships that you can own shares of. So Link2 shares here, Ripple CTO and PolySign board member David Schwartz knows exactly how Link2 sources its private equity before making it available to our global investment community. And you can get that opportunity because there just happens to be Ripple and PolySign on Link2's platform for private equity. Click the link underneath and check out my sponsor, see if it's right for you. I love it. And right here is the survey end. The survey says, first of all, the survey says 72.4% of you pegged it that there would be no judgment yesterday, and you were right. 27.6% of us saw the glass half full, and we're wrong this morning. That's okay, because there will be a ruling coming, and we've got some more information. We're going to hear from John Deaton in just a few minutes here. The U.S. government sold about 216 million of seized Bitcoin linked to Silk Road Market earlier this month. It plans to sell the remaining 41,490 Bitcoin over 4 transactions this year. Oh, I'm sure that's good for the market. I want to play this clip here. Mark Mawson, no slight to Mark here, but he has been a pretty good hater of XRP. I don't think he understands it, and I'm certainly willing to have him on my show or go on his show and help him understand it. He says, imagine being in the XRP army and hanging your entire bull thesis on helping banks transfer money instead of embracing Bitcoin freedom money. And then he puts the hand over his face like, oh my gosh, they just don't get it. Well, I think we do get it, Mark, and unless you think the governments and banks are going away, I don't think maybe you get it.
If you approach the regulators with you need to adapt to us, I mean, that is dead on arrival. Like my experience and globally, and frankly, even here in Davos, meeting with financial regulators in all kinds of countries, I think we have to acknowledge, Ben Bernanke, the former head of the U.S. Fed, came to one of Ripple's customer events. And one of the things he said is, countries will not give up their ability to control monetary supply. They will roll tanks into the streets first because it's giving up sovereignty. Now, we can debate whether or not some countries at the longer tail ever had control of their money supply. But the G20, I think I agree with Jeremy that cash is anonymous and private and all those things. But if you ever walk into the bank and ask to withdraw $20,000 of cash, they're going to ask you a lot of questions.
You better believe they are. He's absolutely right. And I think Brad Garlinghouse has got it right there. No doubt about it. And listen, it doesn't mean I don't want to see Bitcoin live. But look, just like we as XRP holders, Ripple private equity holder, you know, the SEC is really suing Ripple over XRP. That's a real fact. And you have to weigh that out as somebody who's in this space, just like you have to weigh out the fact that the Department of Homeland Security knows exactly who the 4 Satoshis are, and you have to weigh out the fact that the SEC acts like they don't know who it is, and so is the CFTC, and it's very suspicious. You also have to weigh out the fact that what would happen if the Satoshis were publicly revealed, what that would do to the Bitcoin price. And if the wallet of Satoshi was opened up and dumped on the market, what would that do? And what are the implications to any public company like MicroStrategy that hold the asset Bitcoin on their books? And then what kind of lawsuit would they be facing if these public disclosures weren't made knowing that the identities are actually known? These are very real things, just like you got to look at the SEC case and make very real things known to yourself about that situation as well. And then we go even further, speaking to the whole crypto space now. It's Bittrex that's next here. Popular cryptocurrency exchange Bittrex has announced that it will wind down its U.S. operations due to the challenging regulatory and economic environment. Look, I think I nailed it right here, and I shared Eleanor Terrett's tweet. Shout out to her. And she will be at the XRP Las Vegas as well. John Deaton and many, many other incredible people. Nancy Beaton from Uphold. And I'm telling you, and so many other incredible people. We're going to have a moment there with John Deaton, Eleanor Terrett, and you're going to, and Jeremy Hogan's going to be there virtually as well, participating. We're going to have a Q&A, and you're going to want to be a part of that. I'm going to tell you, that's going to be a remarkable portion of the conference. But I say it looks like the SEC's plan to suffocate the industry so the central monopolists can scoop it up for pennies on the dollar are working like a champ, but spell correct said cheap. Meanwhile, Congress is having plenty of meetings. I'm sure they will save us. Hashtag sarcasm. All they do is get mad and go out and tweet too. It's like it's not good what Congress is not doing, right? Meanwhile, in El Salvador recognizes the innovative moment in time we're living in. Technology innovations such as software programming, coding, apps, and AI development and computing and communications hardware manufacturing will be exempted from taxes in El Salvador. They know how to get the people there. They know what's coming. And we better all know what's coming. The Bank of China, March 31st through April 1st, 2023, nationwide system maintenance, but it gets deeper. We covered this yesterday, and this is for anyone who missed it. Just look at this is a peep in the window size sample of what's happening globally. It started this weekend here, whether it's ISO 22, maintenance, digital upgrade. I mean, you name it, the banks around the world are doing it. They are moving and taking shape to match this digital age. The ones that get it understand, look, this is what happened to the record industry. They laughed at Napster. They laughed at digital file sharing. They didn't think it was going to be a thing. And you know what? The record industry is gone. It will never be the same again. Because instead of embracing the technology and taking hold of it, they thumbed their nose at it, and it disrupted that industry so greatly that it has never looked the same since. I urge you to understand that these banks here that are making these changes, they learned the lesson. They don't have to touch the stove to know it's hot. And it gets bigger. We know we've been reporting here. There's a constant story that continues to evolve here. BRICS are, in fact, developing a new currency, ladies and gentlemen. And if we take a look at it, it is not a joke. The transition to settlements and national currencies is the first step. The next one is to provide the circulation of digital or any other form of a fundamentally new currency in the nearest future. That's what we're talking about here. BRICS next summit is set to take place in August this year. Jim O'Neill recently indicated that a group of countries should expand and work to counter the dollar dominance. Notably, O'Neill has served from the chief economist at Goldman Sachs and coined the acronym BRIC. Currently known as Brazil, Russia, India, and China and South Africa are part of BRICS coalition, but a host of other nations intend to join it. And we know that that is very real too, and that's where things get very, very tricky, ladies and gentlemen, like this. Compliments to Anders L here, and shout out to Michael Branch for this one here. This is a reminder. China and Brazil to settle trades in their own currency, ditching the U.S. dollar. Saudi Arabia partners with China to build a Chinese oil refinery for 83.7 billion yuan, which is $12.2 billion. They're not putting up corner store, ladies and gentlemen. They're digging in. Saudi Arabia enters trade alliance with China, Russia, and India, Pakistan, and 4 Central Asian nations to step further away from the reliance on the U.S. dollar. And just a day or two ago, China and France complete their first gas trade using Chinese yuan, ending reliance on the U.S. dollar for energy trades. Are we picking up on a narrative here, ladies and gentlemen? Because it's out here if you want it. Jason Cousins here from Glint. This is why I'm using Glint. The way the central banks accumulate gold, I'm using Jason Cousins and Glint to do the same for me and my family. Click the link underneath the video for that and see if it's right for you. Once you start, you won't stop. U.S. dollar's dominance as global reserve currency weakens as countries opt for local currencies in trade. China, Brazil agree to trade using their own currencies, bypassing the U.S. dollar, making another blow to the greenback supremacy. Gold will flourish. I think he's right, not financial advice. Here we have quick clips from highlight clips from the one and only Antony Welfare. He has a great book called Commercializing Blockchain. And I want to bring you in right now at just a couple points in this so you can get the highlights of it. It's all very good, but I just want to give you the quick highlights here. Take a listen.
James mentioned Ripple yesterday. So James, our VP for CBDCs. Ripple's about 750 people. We're growing massively, which means I never update the slides. So we grew by about 300-400 people last year.
Dang.
We're cross-border, known for our cross-border payments, but we also do lots of other sort of projects using XRP Ledger and other sort of technologies. One of those is CBDCs, and we've been working on CBDCs for around about 3 years now.
And that is massive. 750 employees. That is growth while you're being sued by the United States SEC. Come on in. Who's upset? Not this guy. Brad Garlinghouse has got the wheel. He ain't playing around over there. Now let's go ahead and get a look at this. This is at 3:14, 3:18. You're going to hear him talk about crypto exists in the future. They're making their plans and market infrastructure and addressing the market that crypto will not completely go away. I think it's an important point. Take a listen.
On different blockchains and on public ledgers. And then obviously on the left-hand side, as you're looking at the slides, we have cryptocurrencies. We still believe they will exist in the future. You know, we're not looking at this where CBDCs will be the only thing and cryptos will be nothing and vice versa. That mix, that scale could be anything. Yeah, so at the moment, it's something like 97%, 90% of the money that we have in our wallets is actually commercial bank money, so it's near the right-hand side. That probably will stay similar for some countries, but change. So it could be a world of 20, 30, 50% cryptocurrency, 1% CBDC, or vice versa, or any sort of mix on that. So we need to be ready for a world of interoperability and sort of bringing this all together.
And they can do that because they have access to use the World Exchange, the first ever decentralized exchange known as the XRP Ledger. That keeps them nimble to be able to adjust for the market conditions in anywhere in the world, as he just mentioned. Some countries may have a bigger reliance on crypto. Some may stay the same, and it just may be a digital CBDC. They are able and prepared and nimble to be able to flex with the market and provide the interoperability, because the XRP ledger is a world exchange that happens to be decentralized. Let's take a look at this. This is 4 highlights, best outcomes in favor of XRP holders, and we don't have a problem reading this. Shout out to John Deaton. Let's take a look at it. Deaton highlights the possible outcomes for the Ripple SEC lawsuit that could determine the future of XRP secondary market transactions. It says right here, according to John Deaton, Judge Annalisa Torres, the presiding judge of the lawsuit, could rule in 4 ways that could become suitable outcome for the token. It says here, for the first best outcome, John Deaton said Judge Torres could grant an outright win for Ripple while rebuking the SEC for gross overreach and its behavior throughout the case. Boy, I'd love to see that one. I think that was my favorite. He cited an instance where Judge Sarah Netburn, the assisting judge, described the SEC lawyers as hypocrites who lack faithful allegiance to the law. And that is correct there. Then he goes on here. Secondly, Judge Torres could rule that Ripple offered XRP as securities during the early stages of the ecosystem, but that token itself and secondary market sales do not constitute securities. Thirdly, Judge Torres could send the case to trial to allow a jury to decide all undisputed facts in this ruling. She could add that XRP is only a software code and that the secondary market transactions aren't securities. Now, that would work too, but I'd hate to see that for Ripple to go that distance, but it may happen. Deaton noted that the last best outcome for the coin involves the judge ruling that Ripple's past and present XRP sales are securities while excluding future secondary market sales of the coin, he said. Judge grants the SEC summary judgment versus Ripple for both past and present sales of XRP as investment contract, but the judge makes clear her ruling has nothing to do with secondary sales and of XRP. Ripple appeals the case, and we have the status quo for years. If Judge Torres rules that XRP secondary market transactions are not securities, U.S.-based exchanges, including Coinbase, will be prompted to relist the token or the coin. How about that? Worst case scenario, we got to look at it. Meanwhile, Deaton, who represents XRP holders in the capacity of amicus curiae, friend of the court, highlighted the worst case scenario that could happen per Deaton. The judge might grant summary judgment in favor of the SEC against Ripple without commenting about XRP. If this happens, Deaton said he would ask the judge to provide clarity, as he did in the library versus SEC lawsuit. However, Deaton thinks Judge Torres will comment on XRP secondary market transactions during her ruling. I believe Judge Torres will comment regarding secondary sales and regarding the token itself. XRP holders' amicus brief and 3,500 affidavits are a big deal. Spend the bits, tap jets, amicus brief are a big deal. The judge knows the public interest at stake, he added. And by the way, Deaton's assertions come as the XRP community anticipates summary judgment from the lawsuit. Many expect a ruling or outcome yesterday, but it didn't happen. As we know, we will hold on to see when it does. Now, as the deadline goes, John Deaton reminds all of us yesterday afternoon, there is no deadline of today for her to rule. The decision could come out within the next hour, or it could take another 30 to 60 days. Based on previous cases, Judge Torres has issued her ruling on summary judgment within a couple months of her Daubert expert decision. So we are very close if she follows that path. Now, let's take a look at this, because XRP to price to surge beyond $4 in April, predicts an analyst here. I don't have a problem with it, but who is it? It's Crypto Bull 2020, who says, looking at my charts, in my opinion, the verdict of the SEC versus Ripple lawsuit will be announced on April 13th. Well, that's a special day because that just happens to be my birthday. So I don't have a problem with that. It'd be a great birthday, especially if it's that first outcome that John Deaton talked about. And if it's followed by some price action, I absolutely would be ecstatic, especially at $4.75. I think he could go a lot more, but we got to have this ruling to open the door for mass adoption, certainly here in the United States as well. Look, it's not financial advice from me, Crypto Bull, or anyone else. Excuse me. It's just my digital perspectives. I'll catch all of you on the next one.